Again, we haven't gotten to every point that I wanted to make. I'm sure you're glad about that. But there are a lot of myths out there, and what's sad about what we're seeing on TV is so much nonsense. And we've covered, I think, the essential issues. Knocking people out of unions, a bargaining process that is essentially collective bargaining, not listening to nurses on emergency staffing, you name it. And then you hear the myths, and I just want you to remember these when you go to the ballot box. One, the need for a balanced budget. There's a lot caught up in this. I mentioned the states without collective bargaining have bigger deficits than we do. By the way, this ad you're seeing about, if only they paid their fair share, 10% of pension, 15% of health care. Well, guess what? All state employees already do that. That's a political ad to make you think they don't. And most local folks do as well. Pension pickups where the government pays for the pension of their employees, 95% of the time that doesn't happen. So sure, there are places where it happens, but this 10 and 15% of these ads you're seeing as if they're not doing this already. And by the way, these workers also, in the last 3 or 4 years, have made huge concessions. Saved the state 2 years ago $350 million in furloughs and giving back more in their health care. And as I mentioned, if this was really about balancing budgets, and I'm going to harp on this because when I was a county commissioner, I wouldn't dare ask for a furlough if I also wouldn't take one. And the idea that cabinet members are getting raises in the tens of thousands, that legislative aides, now that's a nice job, but it's not working on a beat. It's not putting out a fire. That they're getting raises, and frankly, Kasich and the Senate president say, well, they're working hard. We think they deserve them. Well, so do our firefighters, folks. They deserve a good pay, too. We need good ones. John Kasich was asked, why do you need these salaries for these good people, for these people? He said, I need good people working for me. I'd rather have good teachers, frankly, and good firefighters. So they seem to get it on their own people, but now they want everyone else to pay the price. So there are a lot of myths out there that we simply need to work through. It's not about balancing the budget, folks. That doesn't add up. It's not about raises, because they would have cut their own pay. It's not about public employees not doing their share. They've done a lot, and frankly, they're going to do more. You bet you they will. This is, in the end, about what we talked about. It's about a law that ends collective bargaining. I'm glad Gary, by reading the FDR quote, basically accepts that. That's what it does. It's about removing people from unions who, frankly, deserve that representation. And it's about, for all of us, cutting off and muzzling voices that speak for us on issues we care about, whether it be nursing staffing, whether it be safety on our fire department, whether it be class size. It's saying, we don't want to hear from them anymore. The bill goes way, way too far. There's certainly a reasonable reforms we can do. This doesn't do it. And again, like Bill Cunningham and Bill Seitz on the other side say, let's repeal this thing, and if there are discussions to be had afterwards, let's have them. Thank you again for having me here.
Thank you, Mr. Pepper. Mr. Greenberg.
Yes, as far as the budget issue, look, there are a lot of things that this bill is going to do. Addressing our budget concerns is one of them. Let me read a quote from the Columbus Dispatch from March 6, 2011. Central Ohio's largest government entities would have spent about $74 million less on employees' health care and pension benefits last year if SB 5 had been in effect. Okay, that's just Central Ohio. Again, look at your union contracts, do your research. I think you'll find that Issue 2 and SB 5 will go a long way. It's not the only thing we can do. Listen, if it were up to me, those legislative aides would not have gotten those raises. But that doesn't mean that Issue 2 and SB 5 are bad bills just because the legislators made that mistake. Now, in Ohio, since 1983, the government unions have benefited and the public has suffered a form of taxation without representation. The enormous power of Ohio's government unions has effectively transferred control of our tax dollars and our public resources from voters to the unions. A yes vote on Issue 2 will end this excessive government union power and restore self-government to the people of Ohio. And I want to leave you with a couple of quotes to consider. Remember, when you hear the government unions and their spokespeople tell you that, that they're campaigning for you, for the public. First of all, let me quote Samuel Gompers, who was one of the founders of the American labor movement, of the American Federation of Labor. In the late 19th century, he was asked, what does organized labor want? Gave a one-word answer, more. And I also want you to consider what our own Vice Mayor, Roxanne Quall, said in the August 2011 issue of Cincinnati Magazine. Now, I'm not shilling for Cincinnati Magazine here, but it is a nice magazine. While I respect and admire people's right to organize to represent their interests, it is clear that the interests of unions are not consistent with the interest of taxpayers, particularly in a time of financial distress. When the government unions and their spokespeople say vote no on issue 2, what they mean is more for them and less for you, less for the citizens and taxpayers. Vote yes and restore the public's control over public resources and services. Thank you to David for his gentlemanly debating style, and thank you all for your time and attention. Also to the moderator and to our hosts. Thank you. Thank you. It's fun.
And to wrap things up this evening, Sarah Moore with the Junior League.
My name is Sarah Moore, and I'm the chairperson for the Public Affairs Committee of the Junior League of Cincinnati. And with me is Vicki Colon-Hay, the Vice President of our Community Projects Council. As part of the Junior League, the primary role of the Public Affairs Committee is to educate our members and the public about current issues and ways to more effectively advocate for those issues important to our community. In recent years, the Public Affairs Committee has partnered with other community organizations to host informational debates between candidates running for local offices, host educational panels on fighting childhood obesity in support of our signature project, Kids in the Kitchen, execute advocacy training to help our members and the general public better advocate for current issues facing women and children, and coordinate the exchange of information from community-based projects to policymakers. As chair of the Public Affairs Committee of the Junior League, it was my honor tonight to host this issue forum on issue 2. A special thanks to the Public Affairs Committee for their tireless efforts in making this happen, and also to our host partners, Cincinnati Museum Center for allowing us to use this beautiful space and for your community expertise, and the League of Women Voters for helping us to draft the questions in tonight's format. Thanks also to Mr. Greenberg and Mr. Pepper, and also to Ms. Zalesnik for a very informational session tonight.
On behalf of the Junior League of Cincinnati, thank you for being here tonight. This is an important issue in the Cincinnati community, so we hope that, like us, you've learned something that will inform your vote in November. We also hope you'll join us next year for an informational event or events surrounding the mayoral race. Sorry. But thank you for being here this evening, and have a great night.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.